Episode 26 left off with Dr. Ludwig treating Mary to his favorite bakery as Haman continues to harass our little time traveler, chiding that God has abandoned her by not revealing the mission and providing her with clear directives. Haman pushes her to question Dr. Ludwig's motives, then tempts her to view her friend in an inappropriate way. Returning to their table with some napkins and more treats, Dr. Ludwig notices the troubled expression in Mary's eyes, but unsure whether he should bring it up, he decides to simply lighten the mood.
Should we say grace again? Or does the grace we said over pizza cover dessert as well?
I do my best to continually thank the Lord, whether at table or rest, whether aloud or in silent prayer, since all that he gives us is truly undeserved. He sends his rain and his sun upon the good and bad alike, that all may experience his kindness.
Then why do I sense a troubled look in your lovely eyes, which, my friend, gives you away? I admit that I can be at times like a bull in a china shop, so if I'm prying to the point of discomfort, please let me know.
No, you're fine. It's just that annoying voice in my head, for lack of a better description, that persistently tempts me to mistrust the Lord and second-guess my actions.
What kind of a voice?
One that is, surprisingly, much like Dr. Haman's.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, I think I've heard that voice in my head as well. Thank you for sharing that, as I had been hesitant to admit it for fear of sounding schizophrenic. It's not a desirable trait in my field. Now, where were we? Oh yes, since you didn't protest when I concluded that you're from the future, I'll just assume that's the case unless you inform me otherwise. In the meantime, may I inquire as to how you got into my lab completely undetected?
Through art.
You mean through your sketches or through someone named Art?
What art from me floweth, therefore I goeth.
So, you're telling me that whatever you draw calls down the power to actually go there?
Apparently so, although this was not the case until recently. One day, it suddenly became the means through which God chooses to accomplish whatever he intends to accomplish through me by means of it.
So, by merely drawing something, you can literally transport yourself there?
I just draw. God does the transporting.
That's incredible, Mary. Oh, drats, it's the lab. They only call at this hour when something's gone wrong. Please excuse me, my dear, and don't hesitate to enjoy your treats and coffee while it's still hot. I'll try to make this quick.
Wow, that was fast.
It's only a small fire that they can put out themselves. Those kind of things happen in a lab.
Really? I would think that a fire would be of great concern.
Nah, not at all. Not when you understand the nature of fire as well as I do.
As well as you do? I must admit, I wasn't expecting that area of expertise from you. Tell me something about fire that I would find particularly interesting.
I'll start with what fire is. Fire is the visible effect of a process called combustion, a special type of chemical reaction that occurs between oxygen in the air and some sort of fuel. The fuel must be heated to its ignition temperature for combustion to occur, and the products from the chemical reaction are completely different from the starting material.
Well, that's a fitting description of the refiner's fire I was speaking of, where a soul is purged of its impurities that it can be capable of entering a beatific state in heaven's perfection.
Unlike hell, where the burning never ends and the product, therefore, never ends up being different from its starting material, rather, it is condemned to an eternal, all-consuming yet never completing state of infernal combustion.
Well, I've never heard it explained quite like that. In the spiritual world, this fiery purgative process is necessary, as we read in the book of the prophet Isaiah, when he says, "Woe is me, I am doomed, for I am a man of unclean lips, living among a people of unclean lips. Yet my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts." Then one of the seraphim flew to me, holding an ember that he had taken with tongs from the altar. He touched my mouth with it and said, "See, now that this has touched your lips, your wickedness is removed, your sin purged." Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" "Here I am," I said, "send me." And therefore the prophet of the Lord may go forth and proclaim to this sinful world the truth in God's holy righteousness. I might describe it this way. What enters purgatory becomes refined through fire and perfected to a new and divine state of purity. Something unfathomably attractive, perfective, and beautiful, and fulfilling to any creature graced to understand the magnificence of such a state. What lands in hell, on the other hand, continues to scald and blister within the burning lusts, godless rebellions, unavenged angers, nagging hungers, unquenchable thirsts, unsatisfied addictions, sinking pride, and unfulfilled greed that it entered with. Furthermore, it is surrounded and eternally abused by the properties it hates most dreadfully within itself.
I'd rather not go there right now, but returning to the topic of your efficacious art, if you drew a picture of hell, wouldn't you suddenly find yourself there? Or, if you sketched the pinnacle of some cathedral in Rome, wouldn't you end up on top of it?
I don't know. I'm a bit uncomfortable with your bizarre suggestions. I do know that I wouldn't dare try such a thing any more than I'd risk drawing myself into an underground coffin or an active volcano. That's the kind of curiosity that killed the cat, as they say.
But you conceivably could if you wanted to, right? Remember, I am a man of science and I rely on the evidence, so it's imperative that I ask such questions. Here, let me present a more palatable challenge. Draw an extra croissant on the table, and let's see if we get charged for it.
Dr. Ludwig, that is weird. Is that a joke, or am I missing something?
I'm trying to discover the source of your power. If it's from God, He won't let you test Him in such a way. But if it's from a malevolent force, at worst, we'll get a free croissant.
It seems to me what you're really wondering is whether or not this gift comes equipped with the wisdom required to properly use it. Apparently it does, because I have absolutely no desire to test the Lord in such a manner. I'd be perfectly happy to buy you another croissant if you're still hungry.
However you prefer to look at it, my dear, but there's only one way I can obtain the evidence I need now, isn't there? I implore you to draw a picture of my favorite red terrestrial planet, Mars, to see what happens. If your superpower is truly from God, He won't send you there without the proper equipment, unless, of course, your faith is lacking. Naturally, He'll provide a state-of-the-art spacesuit because the temperature there ranges from approximately minus 109 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 42, a tad chilly for humans, but Martian days are only half an hour longer than Earth's, although its solar year is 687 days instead of Earth's 365, so you gain by having less birthdays there. Then there's the issue of its active Marsquakes and massive dust devils, my personal favorites, and you'd have to be equipped for the thin atmosphere and iron oxide coating, which is what makes the planet red, but that's nothing the Creator can't handle. Perhaps He has sent me to reveal your undisclosed mission as being a mission to Mars. Maybe that angel also touched that burning coal from the altar to your lips too, because you've been chosen, like Christopher Columbus, to lead humanity to the new world. Your globalist friends would be all over it, and you'd have all the support in the world, especially being the fetching woman you are, to save the world from its climate apocalypse. Just imagine, Mary, being the first woman to walk on Mars and the pride and glory you would bring to modern womanhood, not to mention yourself.
I see your point, Doctor. Perhaps this is a test of my faith, like when Peter asked Jesus to command him to walk on the water. It's no problem for the Lord to have me walk on frozen iron oxide, as long as my faith in Him doesn't falter. Even when Peter's did, Jesus did put him back in the boat.
Yes, He will provide everything you need to do the impossible and return you home safely.
Just as He always provides the proper clothes for whatever era He sends me to.
But if the source of your artistic power is sketchy, pun intended, and your mission is not from God, then you'll immediately find out.
Or at least die trying to.
But what better way to leave this world anyways? If something goes wrong, you'll just meet your Lord sooner while serving Him, and not even knowing what hit you. What a glorious transition. You'd simply evaporate and poof, you're at heaven's doorstep as a martyr for humankind.
Yeah, or maybe I'd be transported to something that simply looks like Mars, like a Disneyland ride or a movie set, maybe an aerospace museum, or some sci-fi video game. Then again, if I actually was transported to Mars to die, that would mean it was either God's will and He'd make good use of it, or that God hadn't really called me, because if He had, Elijah would have prevented this from happening, right? And if it's some demonic force behind this artistic power, then I might as well be dead, because I would have been serving a false god, a demon really, and my conversion and hope would, in reality, be nothing more than a big fat lie.
That's my girl. You truly caught my drift. And I not only love the way you can reason things out, but you've demonstrated heroic courage. You know, your name's written all over this project. Have you noticed that the name Mars is Mary's without the R? That's because there would be no R about it. It would be all about you, and you alone, my little time skipper. Here's to your adventurous spirit, and be sure to put me on the VIP list at the presidential reception upon your return.
Mary cannot tell if it's an inexplicable thrill or chill that suddenly runs up her spine as she holds up her pad to capture more light in the dim surroundings. Dr. Ludwig sits quietly staring at the back of her pad with wide-eyed anticipation as her hand glides across the surface to draw a large circle.
No sweat and or bleed, and when older, don't you go for me like I for you. Oh, my freedom, like rivers away, like so many others, so many others before. Seek the glory that is true to you and be with me, with me. Oh, I am the rising sun of your desire, not me. I have power to give you all your being creations, and moon shall glory even not. But you must give yourself to me like the angel of day, that I may demonstrate my power and glory.
Entry, Tuesday, September 11th, 1990, 8:30 p.m. Will Mary pick up the space race to achieve the impossible? Will she change human history and the future by doing so? Will she die trying?
Stay tuned.